everyone, and welcome to our review for the final episode of Star Wars Resistance Season 1, No Escape Part 2. I am your host today, or kind of host. I'll just do the intro and outro bit because honestly, I'm not feeling that well. I have a cold. We're just going to talk about Resistance. Of course, I'm Kees Cornelissen with Chris Doman and Nico Rogoli, but that you know. We have finished Season 1 of Resistance. And my God, what a great season we have had. I can say, Chris, you are very giddy. Tell us something.
Okay, like
the
no
Peter
joke.
Griffin laugh.
No joke. This is. I'll officially say it. That out of the three shows of the three anime, canon Star Wars TV shows, because I don't count Droids and Ewoks because that's Legends, but
nobody counts that.
Yeah, to be fair, they probably shouldn't. But this has been the best intro season to a Star Wars show yet. Now, will The Mandalorian potentially prove us wrong later on in the year? Who knows? But, oh my God. I adore this show. I love these characters. I love how Season 1 wrapped up. I love how there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I cannot wait to where it's going to go from here.
Oh, yeah. I definitely agree with that. Nico, are you on the same page?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And Chris said he can't wait to see where it goes from here. Neither can the crew of the Colossus, because apparently they have no idea where they're going at all.
This is true. Way
to go,
Neeku.
At least it's not the car.
Which, yeah, and we'll get there in a bit as to why. Thank God for that.
No, that's true. Anyway, we'll get more into our thoughts, I think, about the full season later. Let's just first discuss this episode, which starts right off where the previous episode left us, because, of course, what happened after Cass saw the destruction of his home planet, and how do we resolve this crisis going on the Colossus? Well, actually, they had a plan. Neeku is a very important part of that plan. They're going to just flush out stormtroopers on now or not now. They weren't entirely clear on that, but it was funny for sure. And then those stormtroopers get eaten by sharks, and then you see a shark fly, swim around with a helmet of a stormtrooper. That was something that was really funny. That was awesome, and I didn't know I needed that in my life, but I did. Nico, what were your thoughts on that?
Okay, can I just say, despite his ridiculousness, and I think that's part of the reason why I like him is because of the ridiculousness, but I am kind of a sympathizer towards the character of Riff Tamsin. So to see those sharks pop up and just eat the stormtroopers and just yank them through the water like a scene from Jaws, it was wonderful. But also the plan itself, I love how a lot of the plans that work out in the show are just the most ridiculously thought up plans, and it's just a matter of like, well, let's hope for the best, and it usually pans out that way, and it works out in the favor of our heroes. But like even last week when they decided let's flush the station, like that was just well, we're gonna see where this goes and hope for the best. It's like even when they had Bebo, it was like, okay, well, let's just trust that this thing is that baby's mother and hope for the best. Like it's just a lot of flying by the seat of their pants with through calculated guesses and hoping things work out, and they do work out, and I love it so much for that.
I was going to say they're the only people that guess more than Josh Makuga.
This is very true. Now, actually, speaking of Bebo, whoever made that prediction of the fact that maybe the mother is going to come back and play a role, you're wrong. I think that was me or Nico.
It did pop up. She did pop up for a brief cameo when they were getting Sonara off of the Colossus, but
I know. But other than that, she didn't play a part in this finale, which I thought could have been, might have been something good. But considering that I've seen the finale now, I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good thing that they just skip that and leave it where it should be. And it's not going to return anytime soon, considering where the Colossus is now. We'll get into that. But yeah, after that, they actually try to get the Colossus airborne, and then a big dogfight ensues with the TIE fighters. Tam makes a decision, which we all knew was going to happen, but we still hate her for it. But I still can't wait to see the resolution of that whenever we get to season 2, because wow. Nico, what are your thoughts on Tam joining the First Order?
So I think I have a small problem with this particular scene, and I think Chris has the same problem, and that's that there are several people there who have all had firsthand accounts of watching a hologram of Hosnian Prime getting blown to smithereens. Why is no one saying anything to Tam of like, these guys just blew up 5 planets, don't join them? But they didn't because, and granted, it might disrupt the story and the flow because then they'd have to go through like several seconds of explaining to Tam, "Hey, we
That's
just
actually
saw
a
a
good point.
hologram of this happening, so don't join these guys." And then it's a matter of hearsay. So like, would she even believe them anyway? So
Yeah,
No,
uh,
and that's the thing. Like, I wish that I wish that someone had said just so that way we could have that moment, that final moment of, because she would be in such disbelief. She'd be like, "No, of course they wouldn't do that. No, I'm going to go join them. And I'm going to fight every one of you now because I can't trust any of you."
yeah,
But
but
that's exactly what would happen. I think that's why I'm actually very glad that no one did mention it, because it would ruin the flow of that scene where they mention that and she would be, "What are you talking about?" And then exposition dump, which she probably wouldn't believe anyway. So I'm
and
very happy that
plus
they decided to go with what they did.
plus it would take away from that moment when what I'm gonna call the Zuko moment she has, because I'm gonna go back to the Crossroads of Destiny for a second here. In one voice, Agent Tierney, or Tamra, come join us. And then, you have the wise old man, Jerry Giger in this case.
so it's Azula and Iroh in this case.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I would do my best Mako impression, but kind of like case, I don't have the best throat right now either, so I'm not going to risk it. But oh my god, like that moment, that's how you had to sell me that she was going to go full heel, and that's the way they did it, and that's why I loved it.
Yeah, and I also would say, uh, as I was watching it with my girlfriend, we both said we would have hated it if she would have said, "No, I'm gonna actually stay and not join the First Order." That would not make sense. It would not. Yeah, it would be way too kiddie, in my opinion.
And also
Um,
good character development on the part of Kaz and Yeager as well in reaction to this moment, because when Tam goes on that ship, what does Kaz want to do? He wants to save her because he knows what she's in for. Whereas Yeager is just like, she
She
made
made
her
her
choice.
choice.
I've been down this road before when I was in the rebellion. So we have to worry about ourselves now. We can go back to her later if at all. So I like that. I like that. And also, I might be jumping ahead here, but I believe Case made the prediction of like, Tam's not going to know that 5 planets got blown up, but by the time the ship that she's on probably arrives to Starkiller Base, it'll have already been blown up. So, like, Case might have done some great foreshadowing last week of how we're going to start off season 2 in regards to Tam.
yeah, I made a prediction, thinking of would be in this episode. It doesn't happen yet because, especially after you see this episode, yes, it makes sense. But I do think we're still gonna get that. And like as I said, my prediction would be that she is not gonna know about the planets getting destroyed, or she's gonna be told and she's not gonna believe them anyway. And then she is gonna know about Starkiller, and that will probably set her off the most. So yeah, that is a storyline that I'm like dying to see in season 2 how that pans out, because at the beginning of the show I loved Tam and now I hate her, and it's because of the character arc that she's been going through that I think they wrote perfectly for her. So props to the show writers to do that. Now after that, after Tam joins, they all go to the hangar, and actually we have the aces show up and actually have a really cool dogfight around the Colossus with the aces and the ties, where a big character makes a big decision to kill Major Von Rag. Finally, yay, Cass, for doing that. I was very happy that he actually did that. Because yeah, that dogfight. Chris, I know you love the dogfights.
Oh my
What are
god.
your thoughts?
Okay. Let's rewind the clock back to the very first episode of this show and also of Resistance. What was my first big thing that I gushed on this show over? The flight sequences. The way that this show does flight. It was perfect in the first episode with the race, but now it's perfect once again with this dogfight. I love every angle, I love every detail, I love every texture of how everything flies. Because you want to know what it feels like? It feels like we're back in the original trilogy as far as how the flight movement is done. And just some of these gorgeous angles where I'm seeing, ships get blown up left and right, and I'm seeing all the aces work together to take down the ties, and and of course there's a lot of suspense. Like when Griff gets hit, I'm like, oh crap! Please don't kill off Steven Sandman. Please don't kill him off. I like it. I like his character, but then we get to or like when Kaz is being pursued relentlessly by Major Von Reck. I'm literally on the edge of my seat because I'm looking at such gorgeous animation. And I love how it's set towards like an almost sunset starting to come, but it's not quite there yet. So it's just that very beautiful skyline going on. And then of course you have that damn Star Destroyer that had to come in and cast a shadow over the entire thing. And I just remember freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, no.
I think we all did.
Yes.
Seriously, just watching the stuff, like, oh my god, I cannot believe that we actually have a Star Destroyer that just, okay, this is getting real.
This just got
serious.
Real.
Really.
But then we also had a great moment when the pirates actually came in and helped. That I called it.
Thank you, Sonara.
Thank you, Sonara. And you know what? Okay, if you're gonna do a stupid love triangle, I'll be a little more forgiving of it for this one reason only.
Neeku, your thoughts on this great fight?
That's exactly what it was. It was great. Like first off, it was a little weird not seeing Hype as part of the battle in the sense of like he had his own starfighter, but rather he was co-piloting the ship with Aunt Z that they technically stole from previous episodes. But still, it works out in the grand scheme of things. We really get to see Kaz come into his own as a pilot. Like he's finally living up to the potential that he set for himself in episode 1. He said he wanted to be the best pilot in the galaxy, and Yeager is a great judge of piloting skills, and he proved that. Kaz proved that when he took out Major Red. I'm just going to call him Red because it's easier. But
fair.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, you can call him Major Dead now, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Oh, hey-o. but yeah, great fight. And I think we all probably knew in the back of our heads the pirates are going to join the resistance at the end of this whole thing. It's just a matter of how and why. And the why was, well, for one thing, Commander Pirate backstabbed them. Yeah, First Order stabbed them in the back. Secondly, because now they have a common enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
So here we are. Let's work together to get the First Order off our trail and get off of this planet.
Plus the writers, are still gonna, try to tease us with that potential Kaz Sonara ship, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No. Kaz and Torp.
Please.
Here's
the thing. I know there's an age gap a little bit there, but all we're saying is at some point during the lives of these two fictional characters, they're going to get together and it's going to be wonderful.
By the way, let's not talk about the age gap of, for example, Han and Leia.
Touche. That's
At
least 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. It should be 11. So yeah, that's
Roughly.
quite a big gap for them. So yeah, what I was thinking about during the sequence is the moment that Aunt Z is contacted and then shows up. Like you have to remember at that point in my what I was thinking about is the Force Awakens, because what happens in the Force Awakens, everyone on Takodana is watching the Hosnian system being blown up, and right after that, the First Order and the Resistance shows up. And then you have that dogfight. So the question is, I think she probably got off of Takodana before that happened. I'm not entirely sure.
Or
But if
probably right
after,
as it was happening.
as it was happening, that could also be a thing. But yeah, that's something interesting to keep in mind. But it just shows like they really are keeping that timeline intact, paying attention to it. And then what happens after is they all go to the Resistance base, and of course Rey is on Starkiller base, and I think that's around the time that we are now. So we're still yet to finish The Force Awakens because Starkiller is yet to be blown up. I really wonder how that will factor into one of the first episodes of season two, probably the first one. And I think it's going to be awesome. So I'm really looking forward to how all that will play out. Um, anyway, after the fight, they actually have the Colossus airborne, and because of the fact that they need to just get out of there because of that Star Destroyer, they fire it up. Neeku thinks he goes to the car. Then, considering that the car is probably not the best thing to do,
Well, and
um,
to be fair, at
uh,
this exact moment in time, that's not the worst decision ever. It'll just be a bad
uh,
decision 2 weeks from
I think a little less than 2 weeks, but we'll see about that. But he actually admits that they could be going anywhere. And I really wonder where they're going, if they are actually joining up with the resistance or not, if we are actually going to have them intertwine a lot more with the movies or keep them separated. Because what I think would be best is have them still separated, at least up until the end of The Last Jedi, something like that, because that's really like at that point what they claim the last of the resistance is on the Falcon. So do we still have Kaz, Yeager, and everyone out there somewhere? That's really a question that I want to have answered. But yeah, they jump into Lightspeed. So I'll just say, Nico, your overall thoughts on this episode.
Just this episode, and then I could get into like greater theories about what I think is going to happen
Yeah,
in
we'll
season
get
two.
Okay,
into
we'll
that
get
Okay.
into a bit.
This is gonna be a long episode. We're fine with that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's the last episode.
I'm just trying to figure out the how I should organize my thoughts. But yeah, in terms of this overall episode, I very much enjoyed it. This was a happy way to end this season, which that's usually how Star Wars does things. Is the first seasons of stuff and the first movies of trilogies have usually had to end on happy notes. Simply because like they want to prepare you for potential heartache when it comes to how the second season or the second episode of certain things is going to end, albeit Attack of the Clones, Empire Strikes Back, season 2 of Clone Wars, season 2 of Rebels. They have a
Last
history
Jedi.
of yeah, yeah, they have a history of making sure the second portion of when they do things in threes ends on a piss poor note. But they want to make sure that they end off the starting point on a happy note. So yeah, this was a great way to end things off positively. A lot of the stuff we predicted that would happen did happen. And the one thing we did not see coming was that there was going to be a malfunction when it came to typing in the coordinates. Because now it because now this throws us off speculation wise. Although I still have my own theories as to what's going to happen, but this throws us off their trail a little bit as to what they have planned for season 2, and I like that.
Chris.
Um, so in regards to this being a part 2 of a 2-part finale, I loved it. I love the payoff. I love where how it's still setting up where everything's going to be going in season 2, and I love how all my questions for season 1 have been answered. But now I have a crap ton of questions for season 2 that I won't get answered till like October when we finally get season 2, and Oh, the weight's gonna kill me, but it's gonna be worth it because, damn it, I love this show.
I do too. I very much love this show. I think it is, as you said, the best of the first seasons that we've had so far. And this two part episode as a finale is the perfect ending for them. As Nico said, you do need to end on somewhat of a high note. You can't end on that lower note yet because that's usually what happens later. And that's what I really want to see in season two. So, guys, we're just gonna move on to our speculation for season two. What do we want to happen? What do we think will happen? What are we afraid will happen, but will probably still happen regardless? uh, Chris, theories, speculations. You love this stuff.
Lordy. Yes, I do. I for better or worse, I love speculation and theories. Okay, so I'll start off with just one because I know a lot are going to get brought up in the next however long it's going to take. Again, don't care. This is going to be a long video, and I love every minute of it. Okay, first off, someone's going to die, and it's going to rip my damn heart out. But the question is, who bites the dust first? If you had to put a gun in my head and ask me who out of the most likely people to kick the bucket, it's not Bucket.
It's not Bucket.
But no, it's probably gonna be Yeager, sadly, or actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna step back. It'll definitely be Captain Doza, actually.
Ooh.
And the reason being that his arc is essentially done. Because, and to be fair, I don't need more of his backstory about what he might have done during his days in the Empire. Granted, if we learn that just through natural conversation, great, that'd be awesome.
That's cool.
But Yeager still has an arc. There is still stuff for him to do. Whereas Captain Doza kind of doesn't. Because, the Colossus was his station, and now it's going to be the future base of the Resistance. Which, by the way, and then, sorry, one more bit of speculation. I wouldn't be surprised if in season 2 we start the show off, or maybe, actually, no, sorry. We start off the show, and then we got the first half of the season, but the second half of the season, which will be released after episode 9, the first episode back will be the Falcon flies into the hangar of the Colossus.
I can dig that. I just really wonder if they can actually get all the voice cast of the movie to voice their character in Resistance.
I'm sure they'll get most of them.
I definitely hope so. Of course, fingers crossed, but I'm not sure if they can get that. It would be awesome to see that, of course. Nico, theories.
See, I have a similar theory, but different people in mind for who they meet up with. And so first let's break down the time frame, because right as this season ends, I have a feeling that the Battle of Starkiller Base is just about beginning at this point in time. And then you fast forward the span between The Force Awakens and the end of Last Jedi is only a few days if you really think about it.
A couple weeks at the most.
Yeah. So, and a lot of the visual media that Star Wars has been producing lately, in regards to this particular period of time, be it Star Wars Resistance, Battlefront 2, specifically the DLC content that followed the original storyline, and whether or not this third one is canon is still up for debate, but the Lego Star Wars stuff involving the Freemakers, specifically Moxie Freemaker. Again, whether or not she's canon is still up for debate.
I'm not sure on that. I really am not.
But a lot of what happens in regards to the Lego stuff happens around the actual happenings of the movie.
And of course, some Forces of Destiny stuff.
So they call it, but either way, all of those mediums have ended around this particular time period. So I feel like they're setting things up in which characters like Zay Versio and Shriek, or Shriff, excuse me, and be it if she exists in actual canon, Moxie Freemaker. I think they're setting things up for them to meet up with the crew of the Colossus, because they've all gotten messages from General Leia of like, we're in turmoil right now, so gather as many reinforcements as you can and come join us when you can actually join us. She's given that message to all three of these people on all three of these particular visual media of Star Wars. So I feel like they're setting things up for all of these people to meet, gather more reinforcements to the cause, and then join things up for Episode 9 for the big fight that's going to close out this particular time period. And also, just one more little thing. Do we know what the lifespan of a Weequay is? Because I feel like Hondo Anaka is going to pop up at some point.
Weequays do live to be about 150, so yes. Please, for the love of God, let's get Jim Cummings. Let's get Jim Cummings back, baby.
Oh, God. And please have him be better than Rebels, because he's a lot better in Clone Wars. Like, I love Hondo in Clone Wars, but in Rebels, he is...
I mean, he's good in his first episode.
Yeah, remember the Winkatu job, though? Okay, so let's not talk about that. Yeah, I really wonder if they are going to tie it more into the movies, how they will tie it more into the movies, because I do think that you have that possibility of season 2 of tying it more into episode 9 as well. We don't know yet what the time gap will be from The Last Jedi to episode 9.
Well, we do know that it's roughly a year.
Okay, it's a year. Okay. In that case, that means that you have a year to fill up for Resistance. And I think, considering that episode 9 will come out, then after that, they will probably kick Resistance into that gear of now we're going to fill up the gap of what happened between episode 8 and 9, which, of course, is something that a lot of people still want to see, because there isn't that much yet around the sequel trilogy, and that's also due to the fact that the movies are just not finished yet. So we're curious to see how that will pan out. I cannot wait to see what happens to Tam, because she is at this point kind of the most interesting character out of the show, with her, or to me, with that.
She could become the main villain of season 2 if you think about it.
She could. Well, no, I want Agent Tyranny in that role, but no, I feel like she's the Kylo Ren of this crew, the crew.
Yeah, like she was once good, then she turned bad, and she might go good again or do something else. We don't know. But
why did she turn bad? Because a father figure messed her up mentally.
This is very
wow.
true.
Yeah, touche.
Yeah, no, he's got a good point there.
See, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Shut up, Lucas. Anyway,
I love you, George.
As far as other speculation, I think we're all just dying to see Kaz and Torah become more close in the next season. Hopefully, they have finally matured a little bit more, and we can actually get those moments that I've been dying for in this season and only been getting glimpses of. So yeah, like
here's my thinking on that, because like, I feel like these two are very mission-focused people that even if they do like form that kind of romantic relationship that you guys are expecting, they're not going to do a lot of romantic things because they're still very focused on the mission at hand.
As they should be.
But remember Hera and Kanan.
Yeah.
They were also every single season up until the last one very focused on the mission, and while we already got the hint of them together in the first episode, we didn't actually get something actually physical up until season 4. So it took us a very long time to finally get there.
But now I gotta ask a really terrible question. So if we ever do see something, does that mean Kaz is toast?
I hope not.
Please no.
No, I don't think so. It's like it's still going to be Hera and Kanan, but they're going to live happily ever after.
Please.
And Yeager's going to kick the bucket then in season
4.
Aww. I'm not sure about that. Now, yeah, what will happen to Captain Doza? His fate will definitely be decided in season 2. I'm fully with you on that regard, and I think that's about it. I will say season 1 was great. We've gotten some great new stuff in Star Wars, some stuff that we've never seen before. And as Chris mentioned, probably the best thing that this show has shown us out of everything in Star Wars is the how like every single time that they flew in anything, you felt the speed of it. It is fast. It is awesome. And that is something that I actually don't really feel that much in the movies. Like they're getting towards it, but how the show shows it, that is amazing. So I hope that we can continue that. At least they have all the aces and their fighters still in the Colossus, so that's definitely going to be a thing next season, and I can't wait for that. So I'm very excited for that, and I think that the cast of characters, I like all of them. I can't wait to see where they go. They're interesting characters. Like compared to Rebels, Rebels also had great characters, new introduced, but they once again did it with Resistance. So I'm just very happy that they managed to do that. And I will definitely want to rewatch this season several times to go back and pick up some things that I haven't seen before. Also, look at it from a new perspective. Now that you've actually finished the show, now that you know where it's all going, maybe Bebo will not be as annoying or be even more annoying. We'll see about that. Because I think we can all agree that was like the one dud this season had. Other than that,
I mean,
it's been done.
and sure, and there were episodes that like we disagreed on, certain elements, but overall, yeah, that was the only episode we all agreed was not a good episode.
Was filler.
And but in the grander scheme of things, I think we should give that episode some credit because that the incident involving Bebo is partially what influenced Captain Doza's decision to let the First Order have a presence on the Colossus to begin with. Granted, pirates also helped, but yeah, a sea monster attacking your ship is also a really big reason to call in for better security.
No. I recognize that, but seriously, Doza calling for the First Order could have been written a million different ways, which were better than Bebo, I think,
yes.
and less filler,
and
actually.
That was the only argument that we're trying to make, because, like, granted, was are you saying that episode was like poorly animated? No. Are we saying it was poorly acted? No. But
there were still plenty of good things about it.
But it just had no payoff in the rest of the season. Whereas, much like in my favorite show of all time, every single episode, minus like one or two, had something that paid off at a later episode.
Minus like the one where they have what's the name of the episode where they're in the canyon and it's
the Great Divide.
yeah, exactly.
Bebo was the Great Divide.
Yeah, pretty much.
That episode was so dumb.
Oh my god!
But like, we all love Avatar: The Last Airbender, but that episode
sucks.
Yes.
Which, okay, you know what? Then I'm just gonna get into this for just a minute here. Like, I'm a little bit sorry that I keep constantly comparing Resistance to Avatar, but at the same time, the parallels are way too many to count. Because
who was it again that said that After the Last Airbender is the original trilogy of Star Wars?
Me. Although, I actually
did. You got that from someone.
I did get that from someone. I got that from Doug and Rob Walker.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I should have realized that when I was watching the show back, in 2005, 6, 7, and 8, but I didn't. And now I have realized that thanks to their insight. And yeah, it's 100% true. And, this show, partially because of Filoni's influence, has a lot of that similar vibe because you have these characters that are so identifiable instantly, but are also, so unique. And they all have their own great perks, or they all have their great personalities that just leap off the screen and just make you feel like, oh, sure, I recognize this archetype, but I also love this interpretation of said archetype. Because Neeku is Sokka.
Yeah. Because he is the comic relief. He makes a lot of mistakes, but his plans do work, even though they're batshit.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, and then, like we said, Tam is Zuko.
Yeah.
And of course, that would make Kaz, Aang, and
And
Tora is
Tora Katara.
yeah. So another reason why I ship it.
Hey, because Zora Katara.
Hey, touche.
Oh, there.
There we go. Or well, okay, if you want to go by the ship name, it'd be Kazora Katang, but
I don't know. Katara, Kazora. It's close enough.
fine. Yes.
But you had another point to make?
Yes, and also because Avatar created this incredible world that even though it was animated, so already you shouldn't feel like you can connect with it that much, but every single detail that adds to the story adds so much to the universe that they've established. And from minute one, this show has given me so much more lore in Star Wars. And you know, as I even said on our last Who Cares Anime podcast, I haven't been feeling that as much from the movies. This is where I've been getting my fix for that, though, because what's my main draw to Star Wars? It's the characters and the history of it. And in this show, I get both. And I am so damn happy about that. Ugh. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on season one in a nutshell. It started off incredibly strong, even though there were a couple of misfires, but then it picked up right away, and it has not let go of me since. And it, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Nico, your thoughts on season one overall?
Season one overall, it was out of the 3 Star Wars series that we know for a fact are canon. This is the most this is the fastest in which it went from started off iffy and then got super great. Because like it had a set destination for how it wanted it to end. The first season, so it had to get there. It knew what it needed to do, and so that's always good. Character development was great all around. And the parallels to Avatar, I can see them all, and that those are very effective parallels. Even the stupidest episode of the season was enjoyable from a certain point of view.
From a certain point of view, yes.
and the fact that there weren't that many filler episodes or episodes that just felt like slower than the ones that really further the plot. That in itself makes it a great season. I feel like I got all my great points out when we were having the discussion about the episode itself. But you know, I'm very glad that this series exists, and to anyone who dropped off of this show,
get back on.
Yeah, because you're really missing some good stuff here. It definitely does start out for kids, but then it definitely becomes mature very quickly. So it's worth your time. It's worth the watch. And again, I can't wait for season 2. And I'm very thankful that even though it was like a quarter of the way through this show that we're doing, I'm glad that you guys brought me on because I've been having fun every week doing these discussions. And yeah, I'm very excited for season 2, so I can be part of even more fantastic discussions.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you know, dude, like, you know, through this show, we've become friends with you, and we're like, I mean, I'm assuming I'm speaking for Case, but we're happy. We're so happy that we, you know, have made this connection now because of this show.
Yes.
So
yeah, no, I already knew. I think I knew you a little bit more than Chris at the time. I knew that you were a fan of Star Wars and these things, so I was like, yeah, you can definitely bring him on. Especially when you said that you actually like Resistance, because at the time it seems that everyone hated the show, and I was like, are Chris and I seriously the only 2 douches in this world who like this show? No,
there's one more.
No, look, I kid, because yes, as like a lot of people didn't like the show at the beginning because it was kind of kiddie and it was still character setup. But guess what? Rebels started out the same way. I've gone to rewatch season 1 of Rebels a lot of times because I have it on Blu-ray, of course. So why not? Like season 1 of Rebels does the same thing. It starts off kind of kiddie with a couple of cool moments already, but same happened with Resistance. The beginning just needs to establish these new characters because we don't know these characters. We have no clue where they come from, what they do, what makes them live in this galaxy, and what the conflict is with them and whatever there is conflict with, like in this case, the First Order. So I think that I'm probably going to just look back and really focus on how the first couple of episodes establish these characters, and then how the rest of the show, the second half of the season, essentially really kicked in the plot with the First Order, which I think everyone just loves, not just the people who were already hooked from the first half of the season, but I've seen so many people say, "Oh, the show got good. Oh, the show got good," and a lot of people are still like, "Oh no, this show, I hate how it looks and everything." But seriously, guys, give it a chance. It is great. We are all loving it as big Star Wars fans ourselves, and I think that season 2 can only get better from where we are now. Just considering the possibilities that there are, and how it can tie into the movies, because that's something that even the previous TV shows haven't done as much as this show, because those shows didn't take place during the movies. This show does, and that's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited for the rest of the show. I'm loving it so far, and I think that's all we can really say, right?
For better or
So
for worse.
Yep.
yeah, guys, please like the video, comment on anything about season 1, your predictions on season 2, about just this 2-part finale, how great you thought it was, or if we were completely wrong, and if you think, no, this was terrible. Let us know. We'll join the discussion there. Anyway, with that said, Chris, where can people find you online?
You guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Stardust, and Letterboxd at Skywalker Dome. And you guys can follow this very channel on Twitter and Instagram at D2H Channel. Please like our Facebook page. And stay tuned for more Schmodown reactions, the Who Cares Anime podcast, where this week we have from Collider Live fame, Thrawn, 2K5, and David B.
Ooh.
I'm very excited. Let's do this.
Indeed. Nico, where can people find you?
Facebook, Twitter, YouTube at Neeku Suave Regoli. That's NICOSUAVEREGOLI. You can find me right here on Dedicated to Art and all the places Chris just said. You can find me over on Multiplex Entertainment. That's the name of the Facebook group and the YouTube channel. The Twitter is at MultiplexYT. The Instagram is Multiplex Entertainment Network. The TeePublic is just Multiplex. Buy our awesome shirts. Zadie Smith and I have a discussion show about the Arrowverse and various other stuff happening in the world of geekdom and fandom called Crisis on Earthplex every Wednesdays between 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern. And finally, Combat Wrestling Network is the name of the YouTube channel. Combat Wrestling Trivia is the name of the Facebook group. At Combat Wrestling, the number 2 is the name of the poorly made Twitter account. If you like wrestling, if you like wrestling trivia, if you like professional wrestling overall, come join us. We'll get you a match in either the heavyweight or middleweight divisions, and we'll just have a good time as we enjoy wrestling.
Indeed. And well, of course, right here on Dedicated to Art, we don't have a review show for Resistance, but there is one coming up in a month for the last final season of Game of Thrones, where, well, at least I'm going to be a part of that. Ryan is going to be a part of that. I hope that Chris will finally just watch the show and be a part of it. And I do think that Irina might just join us for a couple of episodes, because she has also watched the show now and loves it. So yeah, that will be our next review series in terms of TV. Also, we have the live show every Friday, which Chris just said. Check that out. And Schmodown reactions, always whenever the Schmodown drops. If you're on Patreon for the Schmodown, then you should be able to see our reaction in the comments when the thing drops. So if you're a Patreon, you can see that. And you can find me at Dutch Movie Guy on Twitter, Kees Konees on Facebook and Letterboxd, and soon competing in movie Warzone teams with this guy over at Multiplex, facing Andy and Michael Wood, 2 guys who have shown they know their movie trivia. But then again,
we might be in trouble, Case.
We might have an issue there, but we also know our stuff. So I think that we have a good shot of winning. But whatever happens, I think that match will definitely be fun. So look out for that match whenever it drops. Also look out for other matches that I might be a part of whenever they drop. And with that said, guys, as always, viva la résistance.
And may the force be with you always.
How about all three of us this time? 1, 2, 3. Yeah!
Yeah!